Hello everybody, it's Piblet here. I was just going to try and do my first little video review of 2012 Yamaha fz6r. Got this bike a couple months ago. Wanted to put some miles on it before I decided to try and do a review on it so that I could give you my honest opinion on what I thought. This is mine. Basically a couple little of the mods that I put on it was I got rid of my bunny ears and I put some flush mounts on the side because I did notice that at high speeds they would tend to vibrate a little bit and cause a little rattle in your windshield and whatnot. I also got the worked fender eliminator on it. Looks real good. Tucks it up nice and tight underneath there, but at the same time it gives you a little better opportunity with the popo, seeing as how they like to find us and ticket us for every little thing that they can find. So you might be able to get away a little better with something that's a little bit more visible underneath. I also got this little Joe Rocket tank bag, just so I don't have to shove a lot of stuff in my pockets and I don't have to carry a backpack around with me everywhere I go, all the time anyway. So far, I really do like this bike. It's a good, smooth bike. It's very forgiving for all those new riders out there who are not too sure what to get. I would say that an fz6r would be a great starter bike. Let's go ahead and ride it around a little bit and I'll talk more about it. One of the main things I noticed about this one is, though it's actually supposed to be a Street Fighter class bike, it does have those full fairings on it, so it kind of gives it that sportier look. And for it being, you know, a 650 class bike, it does have a good amount of giddy up and go. A really good plus to this bike, especially if you're a new rider and you're not 100% sure what you want to get, or you're too afraid of the power of 600cc bike like an R6 or a Gixxer 6. This bike it's got an R6 motor in it, however it's geared differently, so you're basically not going to be allowed to power wheelie this bike just by the way that it's geared. So you can sit there and you can get on the gas and you're not going to bring the front wheel off the ground. It's going to involve some clutch work. See, I can see that right there. Just kind of shows you, I mean, I was in second gear there and just whomped on it and it didn't even think about coming off the ground, yet it still had a good amount of acceleration. Also, another thing about this bike that'd be good for like a beginner, or you know, somebody who's used to riding sport bikes but just wants something that's a little better for the road, is your seating. On a lot of the sport bikes out there, you're sitting a lot more aggressively on the bike. Your butt's a little higher in the air, you're leaning a little far forward, and if you're real new to riding, one of the big things that you don't want to do is put all your weight onto your hands, or put all your weight into your handlebars at that too, because that can just cause all sorts of kind of problems, especially when in turns you might be putting pressure on one side of the handlebar or the other, which could cause you to jack up your steering in the middle of a turn, and you just don't want that. So really, you know, you want to kind of keep your arms as loose as possible while at the same time, you know, holding yourself in there. And the seating stance on this fz6r it's very relaxed. You don't have to sit real far forward I mean, you can lean up a little bit. You're not all bent over. It's a lot more comfortable for somebody who's going to be riding a bike on a daily basis and doesn't want to be riding around on, like, you know, a cruiser, and they still want that sport bike feel. And you know, I've ridden a couple sport bikes. I've been on R6s before, and man, I'm a kind of big dude. I'm 6'2" and close to 200 pounds, and when I'm sitting on what feels like a tiny little bike like that, and it feels like my head is directly over my little gauge cluster there, it kind of makes it hard to want to ride that on a daily basis for me anyway. I've also been on a Ducati 1198S, and that's probably the most aggressively seated bike I've been on. Another really great thing that I kind of like about this bike is that it's very forgiving as far as, like, whenever it comes to a rider. Like, if you're gonna sit there and, you know, you have that little freak out moment where all of a sudden you don't know what to do, or say you pop it into like neutral trying to switch it into second gear, and then you freak out and throw it into second, or throw it back down into first real quick and pop your clutch, the bike's not really gonna give you that really aggressive pull. It tends to, I mean, yeah, you can get it up doing a wheelie and stuff like that, but I mean, as long as you're not sitting there staying on the gas after you do it, you'll be all right. As far as like in the turns go, the bike really, that's to me where it kind of starts to shine, is it just seems to handle these corners really well. And for a good first rider experience, you know, you're going to want a bike that's going to be able to duck into those corners, and you're not going to be, I mean, when you're not sitting so aggressively on it, you can start to feel a little bit more comfortable whenever you're taking them, because you're not feeling like you're going to flip over the handlebars or something. But yeah, in the corners, this bike, for me, it really starts to shine. I mean, you can just feel it. It'll just sit down and it'll go. No questions asked. A little gravel on the road there. So as you can see, it's still got some giddy up and go, even with the gearing. I don't know if you noticed or not, but that first gear is really short, so you kind of got to get out of it pretty quick. And that second gear is going to be your pulling gear, where that's where it's really going to start squatting and running away. But yeah, I might tune the suspension on this one a little bit, take it out to the track and ride it, and see how it does in a track environment. Definitely, I'd say for me, being a little bit bigger person, a little bit heavier, the suspension might need to be stiffened a little bit. It comes pretty soft stock, and I mean, that's really nice as far as, like, you know, somebody who may be a little older and having back problems or whatever, but still really wants to have a nice sport bike feel. It's really soft, and it'll handle the bumps real nice. You're not going to bounce around. I guess the downside for me with this bike especially is, you know, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, but, you know, a lot of these newer bikes that are coming out, they have ABS, and this fz6r does not. And the only reason why I kind of figure, you know, that might be a little bit of a problem is for a lot of the newer riders out there that are thinking like an FZ is a good bike, and then they get it, and then they get in like a traffic situation, or somebody pulls out in front of them, you know, and they're not used to having to stop quickly all the time. You know, it you know, causes that back wheel to slide, and, you know, they could get in an accident. But, you know, that ABS would just be that little extra thing out there to kind of help out the new guys on a bike. Another downside for this bike to me is the exhaust. This exhaust is really quiet. You can barely hear it when you're on it. Most of what I hear while I'm riding this around all day long is wind. But you can barely hear it, which means that if I'm sitting on it and I can barely hear it, what about the car next to me that maybe doesn't see me as I'm driving by them? And that's a big thing, especially when you're out on the highways or you're riding through town, is, you know, if you're not being seen, you need to be heard. So it kind of causes a problem when, you know, people are thinking about pulling out in the road, or they're trying to change lanes real quick and they're not paying attention. If they can't hear you, then they're not going to see you for sure. So that's a big problem for me, and I'm probably going to have to do something about that here pretty soon. I've already had a couple people pull out in front of me on it. Caused me to really get down on my brakes. Which is annoying, because if you're any sport bike rider and you got people trying to run into you all day long, or any rider in general really, people are trying to run into you, it's not a good time. This bike also on the highways does great on the highway. I've never really had a problem with it keeping up with traffic or going faster with traffic. Now, I haven't really tried to top speed test it yet. I think the fastest I've gone on it was like 107, and that was just because I was really bored and I was playing in traffic and I found some open road and I just went for it. But you know, I'm sure it could go a lot faster than that, at least 120. I might have to do a top speed run one day, videotape that for you guys. They're having races this weekend at the Texas Motor Speedway, so there's a lot of air traffic today. Make sure I'm not talking to myself. All right, sweet. Try and get some mediocre twisties in here. I haven't been on this road in a really long time. But getting back to how forgiving this bike is, I mean, a lot of people out there talk, you know, like what's the best bike I should get for a starter bike, and really what you're looking at when it comes to that is not really what kind of bike it is, it's what suits you best. A lot of new people think that if they go out there and that they have to get a sport bike for their first bike or something along those lines, you know, or, you know, they think that basically a 600cc is the best bike to have. And really, it's not. I mean, it just all depends on your personal preference, really. Like, I mean, the first bike I ever rode, yeah, was the 600cc as far as like street bikes go, is an R6. And I mean, the big difference there from that and what I've been riding around on was the torque, because those bikes have a lot of torque. So, you know, as far as like me speeding up, I need about 1/4 of an inch of throttle pull. Well, it just seems like with those R6s, all you just barely need to do is get on that gas and it'll go pretty quick. And another thing is, my brother, when he started out on a 1300cc FJR, Yamaha FJR, and he's been on 1000cc bikes ever since. So, I mean, he's been on leader bikes basically from the beginning. And I'm not going to say that his history is good, but I'm not going to say that it's bad either. He's been in a couple accidents. Most of them, 2 of them were his fault, and then the other one was not so much his fault. Let's go back down that road again. But I'll save those stories for later. Another day, perhaps. It's a big ass pothole. But yeah, so now as far as like my first personally owned bike that I've been driving around for a while, this is it, my fz6r, and I put 3,200 miles on it, and every single one of them have been excellent. I mean, aside from the fact that it's a really quiet bike, and that it, I mean, like stock, it's just kind of like a goofy looking bike, and what I was really looking to get was a Street Fighter style bike, and I was thinking about getting that Kawasaki Z1K. Because those are really nice bikes. They have that really relaxed seating stance on them as well. And you're sitting really low to the ground. Little nut checker right there on that little hill. But basically, what I ended up getting the fz6r, as opposed to that or an R6, was basically because of my insurance and the payments, because you know that's where they were going to own me at, was the financial side of everything. So that's why I got this little fz6r, and I've come to love it. I ride it every single day. I named it Jessica. That's what her name is. I don't know if she likes it or not, but too bad. She doesn't talk to me very much. She just screams at me most of the time. Holy shit. Y'all ever see this crazy shit in the road? You watch out for it, because that shit'll grab you and run you all over the place. It's like giant cracks in the road. One of the first nights I had this bike, it was like the 3rd day I had it. I was coming home late night from a friend's house, and I didn't have my camera or any of that stuff at the time. And I was riding down the road, and it was the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and in the middle of the road was one of those little cracks, right, those little squigglies, and I didn't see it because it was dark and really wasn't paying attention to what was on the road. I was paying more attention to the cars and shit that were around me. And man, my bike fell into one of those little cracks, and even though I was only doing like 45 miles an hour, my heart sank, and I thought I was getting the tank slapper, and I was like freaking out, and it scared the poo out of me. And then my bike popped out of it, and I was all good, and I was like, ugh. You know, and for being relatively new on street bikes on the road, man, that thing made my heart sing. Should start a segment. We'll call that segment "Name That Car," and I'll just find a random car and get everybody to comment on what the name of it is. Because I'm into cars and everything, but some of this stuff out there causes me to draw blank. This dude's got shit falling off all over his truck. He's throwing dirt and shit at me. I had an itchy nose, I'm sorry. Oh, I guess why I'm all distracted here and talking about other stupid stuff. Figured I'd let y'all know what I'm recording with. I've got a Drift Ghost HD. I just got it a couple weeks ago. And so I guess we'll see. I'm just still kind of working out the fine tuning with it. Little TT right there. And you know, like getting the exposure right and all that other stuff. I'm recording in 1080 right now, and so far I love it. Alright, high-speed turns, shit on the road. You see that? See, at high speeds this bike handles greatly. Fucking trains. Yeah, here's pretty bumpy road tracks. You can kind of see that just got glides right across them. Alright, we'll give these dudes some room. Let them poodle paddle piddle on up there. There's an SE turn that I want to play with. Okay, I got my playtime in. Oh yeah. Now this is my first real kind of motor, I guess, vlogging video or motor reviewing video. I don't really know what to say. I talk to myself all the time when I ride without a camera. And then I get a camera on my head with a mic and I go stupid. Holy shit. Old freaking Mustang. Ah! The Onion Chapel. Oh, look at this guy. He's always out here waving his shenaniganry. He's a sign twirler, or whatever you call him. We'll just go get back to the bike real quick, since I got really super duper extracted there. Another thing is, once you get right around, you know, 6,500 to 7,000 RPMs, this bike's got this sweet little power band. And it'll just cause you to pop a little squat in your seat there, and it really just takes off. It's nice. You can feel it. Kind of gets in its groove. And you can just throw gears all day long there, and it's just awesome. Oh shit. Huh. 20 miles an hour, my ass, I do what I want. 40 it is. Go see what's in here. Why not? Oh shit. Gravel, that's what's in here. Fuck. Who owns a freaking semi? That just seems like it'd be too expensive and not worth the money. Buggy. I don't know where this goes. I don't know if this is just a neighborhood off on the side or what. Grammy and Poppy's Drive? People still got their Halloween decorations up. It's cute. Should do a video here in the near future of everybody's Christmas shit. Oh, there's a dome. I see it. Fuckhead. What do you want? You're gonna act hard? Bring it, little fella. He's fearless. Now that I've caused a ruckus and pissed off the friendly neighborhood dogs. Little anchor biters. Anchor biters, what the fuck? Ankle biters. What's up, dope? She waved at me. I mean, she wants me, right?